Welcome to the second section of our discussion on economics as a science. In this section, we'll be treating the basic economic problems of the society. The basic economic problems refers to the problems people encounter in the society while attempting to satisfy their numerous wants with the limited resources available to them in a particular society. These problems include the problem of what to produce, what actually will they produce. The second problem is how to produce that thing they've decided to produce. The third problem is for whom to produce, who do we produce for. Then the fourth problem is efficiency of the resources used in producing whatever they've decided to produce. The efficient use of resources. That's the fourth problem. Let's tackle the first problem. What to produce? What do we produce? Firms, households, and the government are faced with the problem of deciding on the types of goods and services to produce for the society because it is practically impossible to produce all human wants or needs. Therefore, the question of what to produce is largely dependent on some factors. There are some factors that determine what to produce in every society. And these factors include number one, the consumer need. The producer in every society will have to consider the needs of the consumer. He has to decide what needs to produce, the quantity and quality of goods and services required by the consumers. The second factor is the consumer's income. The producers must have to consider the earnings of the consumers in the society so as to be able to produce what they will need. The third factor that affects what to produce is the market demand. The demand for a particular set of goods and services by consumers may encourage producers to produce more of these goods and services. Another factor that determines what to produce is availability of resources. When resources for production are available and affordable, the producer will be encouraged to produce goods and services for the consumers. Another factor that determines what to produce in a society is the cost of production. The cost of production. A producer will go ahead and produce when production cost is low to enable him make some profits, because there will be no need for him to produce at a loss. So he has to make sure that the cost of production for a particular good or service is low to enable him make some profits. The second major economic problem in society is the question of how to produce. As soon as what to produce is asked and established, the question of how to produce is then asked. The question of how to produce talks about in what quantity should each type of goods and services be produced. And that quantity that will be produced depends on the quantity of each kind of good and service required by the society. Meaning that if the society demands a particular service, if the society places high demand on a particular service, the producers will have to make sure that they produce more of that particular service. The quantity of the kind of goods and service produced by the society, produced in the society, will also depend on the availability of the productive inputs of that particular good or service. It equally depends on the technological advancements of the society, and equally depends on the technique of the production, and of course it depends on the relative cost of all the factors of production. And you remember that the factors of production include land. The factors of production include land, capital, labor, and enterprise. The third basic economic problem in society is the problem of for whom to produce. All goods and services produced must get to the final consumers. Production is not complete until the goods and services get to the people that will use them. That's the final consumers. The factors that will determine whom to produce for includes 1. Satisfaction of wants. All the goods and services produced either by individuals, firms, or governments must satisfy the wants and or needs of the society. The second factor that will determine whom to produce for is the level of income. The higher the level of income of the consumers, the more they are able to buy goods and services produced. And likewise, the lower the level of income of the consumers, the less they are able to buy the goods and services produced in the society. Another factor that will determine who to produce for is the type of economic system. In our next lecture, we'll be looking fully at the different types of economic system. But here, just know that in the capitalist and mixed economies, who gets what depends on the prices of the various products and the amounts available to each individual. But in a socialist economy, the states normally introduce a quota system in the distribution of goods and services among the people. So you can see from this little thing that there are 3 different types of economic system: the capitalist system, the capitalist economy, the mixed economy, and the socialist economy. We will discuss that fully in the next topic. The last but definitely not the least economic problem in society is the efficiency of resources used in production. The efficiency of resources refers to the optimum use or combination of factors of production to achieve a higher and better output at a reasonable cost. If resources are efficiently used, then it will be possible to increase production of all goods and make everybody in the society better off. The question of efficiency of production and efficient allocation of resources comes under welfare economics. Therefore, the combination of basic resource allocation questions in economic analysis are what and how much will be produced, how it will be produced, and for whom to produce. Let us now discuss the solutions to these economic problems we've listed above. Recall that the problems we listed are: number 1, what to produce; secondly, how to produce; thirdly, for whom to produce; and last but not the least, the efficient use of resources. Now, looking at the solutions, recall that the efficiency of resources used in production refers to the optimum use or combination of factors of production to achieve higher and better output at a reasonable cost. And that since resources available in the society are limited relative to demand for them, it becomes incumbent on the society to ensure that these limited resources are efficiently used to produce the desired goods and services. These basic problems are alleviated by these 2 factors, and they include: number 1, the quality of labor. If the labor in the society is skilled, it could contribute to efficient and effective use and allocation of resources in the production, and which will lead in reduction of wastage and save a lot of time in the production process. Secondly, the techniques of production. The use of capital-intensive model of production, which involves the use of machines and equipment, may produce goods, save time, reduce wastage, and consequently be more efficient than the use of labor incentive method, which may waste time, produce less, and increase wastage. With this, we come to the end of our lesson, the end of our lecture on economics as a science. See you in the next economic class. See you in the next economics class.